We appear to be live. It's Thursday, August 7th, 2025. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight on the GeekNights Book Club, we are talking about Alex Michaelide's The Silent Patient.
Ooh.
All right, you can go for it.
So, yeah, the other day, it was nice outside, and I'm like, I want to go outside just because I've been inside too much, which is still true.
Yep.
And I'm like, I remembered, wait a minute, I bought a jump rope a ways back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Actually,
I love a jump rope.
They come in packs of 2. You can't buy just one, apparently. And I was like, all right, I did buy one of those. Let's go use it because it's fun, and it is.
Yeah, I really like jump roping.
Also, it's way harder than I remember. Not the skill part of it, but the how much you can do part of it. Like,
well, I have a posit there right now. It is not just because we're in our 40s. Part of it is what the times you remember jump roping, your body probably weighed about half as much, so there's a lot less to move. I think that's a big part of it.
Didn't think about that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to jump rope. I tried to jump rope. I was like, I'll try to do it for 10 minutes. And I went through 10 minutes with some breaks. Right? It's like
10, honestly, as someone who is like an extreme cardio person. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the listener heard that. Anyway, I do pretty extreme cardio training, and 10 minutes of jump roping at full speed, that would challenge me. That would be tough.
Yeah, no, I just picked it arbitrarily, not based on any facts. I should have picked 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah, I would do like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of fast jump roping followed by a pause.
Yeah, I was doing regular jump roping, not the fast kind that you see boxers doing. We're like, and I realized my arms are weaker than I thought. I knew I was weak, but like the times I failed jump roping wasn't because of failure to jump. It's because like the rope hit me in the back of the head because I didn't whip it hard enough. Not because it's not even it's the wrong length. It's like I just didn't whip it hard enough. I was like letting it fall and then jumping.
So
and then you sort of have to actually.
On the playground,
add energy to it to get it back over your head, you know.
On the playground in elementary school, they had a bunch of jump ropes, and what I remember is we would all play a game that we called combat jump rope, and all it was is you could you're skipping rope,
just whip people.
I mean, sorta. So you're skipping rope around, and you can skip or jump, doesn't matter. The only rule is if you fail to execute while you keep doing it, you're out until last man standing. So you try to like
you go around and try to mess with other people.
Try to like hit someone else's rope with your rope, or like hit them in the face so they flinch.
You'll usually double eliminate if you do that. It'd be
really
hard
if you flip it hard enough, you'll knock someone else's rope out and you're good. Anyway, I stopped playing it because you kept getting hit in the face.
So I jump roped. I came home. Everything was fine. Everything was fine the next day until the next night. So almost basically like 24 hours later. Right?
I call that the over 35 delay that I didn't know was a thing until I turned 35.
Right. Suddenly, like, I stand up and it's like, on my calves, like way high up on the back, like almost at the knee, but not quite the knee. It hurts, and I'm having trouble like getting the full range of motion in the knee area, right? Even though the knee itself is fine, and it's in both legs equally. And I'm like, well, this could only have been because of jump roping. Jump roping must have used some muscle that has been unused for decades. Because when have I jumped? Forget jump rope. When have I jumped?
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many turtles to dodge. There aren't that many little walking mushrooms around New York I got to jump over.
Unless an adult is an athlete or is specifically doing exercises that involve jumping. It's like, when are you jumping as an adult? You're just not jumping.
I mean, you know what?
Playing basketball or some shit. Right?
Arguably, because I'm a runner, I jump a lot because I'm just jumping forward. But
it's not. When you run, yes, both feet are off the ground, and you could technically call that a jump. But it is not the same as a jump where if you're standing still and you jump
Let's
up,
see.
right?
At work, because it's like the I work for a company that's weird about elevators, so like elevators skip floors to encourage people to use stairs and all this stuff. So I use the stairs a lot in a high rise, and I jump down the stairs if I'm the only one in the thing.
Jumping down is different than jumping up, also. Right? Anyway,
And I jump when I'm rock climbing and like hiking.
Whatever muscle is there, I haven't jumped. Period. And I suddenly jumped a whole bunch in 10 minutes. And for like 3 days now, it's like, if it's weird, like if I don't move at all, it doesn't hurt. I don't feel it. It feels normal.
Yep.
And then if I start to move, it's like, oh, right, remember? You jumped.
See, that's the body. That's biology. The remember is why we have pain. The body is like, yo, what did I just fucking say? Remember.
The thing is, the longer I sit still without doing anything, when I do eventually move, the longer I waited of not moving, the worse it is.
That's why you got to do active recovery. Like if you sprain an ankle in the old days, they'd be like, well, don't move it until it heals. And then they realize that's stupid.
Yeah. It's like if I get up now and I try to start walking, it's going to be like wobble, wobble, wobble. But if I just keep walking, like I walked to the library before and it's like, it was only a problem to get to like out of this room. And once I was out of this room, I just walked to the library and there was some discomfort, but I walked there and back.
You never did like track and field in like younger school, did you? Like proper track and field? Just curious because
I wasn't on that team, but they made us run a mile like every freaking day.
But they didn't because when I remember all that sort of coaching and running training, if you ever stop because you're hurt or you're tired, even if you're injured lightly, usually the coach or the assistant will immediately yell at you, keep walking, walk it off, keep walking. And that's actually like good medical advice most of the time. Like you don't just stop, you got to just keep walking. That's actually better for most minor injuries like that.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll go walking after dinner.
You should go. You should walk. You should walk as much as you can within reason for at least another week. And normally I don't give like medical-ish advice, but like this is the one area where it's my jam.
It's just it's not going away as quickly as I thought it would.
Yeah,
it's the thing.
The delay is what got me the most because that was something.
I thought it would be by now,
like when I was in my 20s, even my 30s, like if I pushed too hard, like I ran way faster than I should have and messed something up.
I'm not a person who pushes hard. Me, I don't huff. If I'm biking and it's like it's getting hard, I'm like low gear, weeka, no trying, no pushing.
Yeah, meanwhile I'm like, well, popped another spoke because I cranked too hard on my bike.
Yeah. I wasn't pushing myself jump roping. I was just like la-di-da.
But when I was younger, if I pushed and I pushed too far, it would hurt immediately or like that day. And then as I got older, like it wouldn't, like I would push myself and not notice. And then I wouldn't feel bad until the next day. And now that I'm in my 40s, just like you said, I have the same thing. It's the day after, like the night after the day that I push too hard, my body's like, oh, wait a minute, by the way. And I don't fully understand the mechanism there, but there's definitely a delay.
Yeah, I don't know what the delay's about. Physical therapist, the listener. No.
So speaking of delays, in the news, this is a big deal, like a big deal news. That's why I'm talking about it, because this is good news and it's important news. So the state of Texas, which is dangerous and led by fascists in America, Texas is a big problem. If PAX hadn't left Texas, we were going to boycott it anyway. Texas is about to do a thing where they're basically going to steal the House of Representatives forever. And I'm not being hyperbolic. This isn't like, blah, blah, the filibuster. Like, this is literally, it would steal the House of Representatives. What their plan was.
Unless we counterattack, but yeah.
Well, yes. But the counterattack is difficult because then every state does it. And I don't want to get into the math because it gets complicated, but it's hard for Democrats to win if we go that route. But does not go all the way down.
Everyone gerrymanders as hard as possible.
Yeah. If we got New York State to do it, that actually would be a big deal because there is a map of New York State you could draw if we just decided to be on the right side of history, where there would be between 0 and 1 Republican House reps from the entire state without disenfranchising anyone, technically. Like, you could do that. But it's basically the map looks like a bunch of districts that are long, thin lines coming out of New York City and going way upstate like a spider web.
Yep. But anyway, I guess the point, the principle, right,
Yep.
is that, if you're playing a game of Monopoly with someone and they cheat, right, it's like, well, you have a lot of options, right,
Yep.
including you can get up and just not play with that person again because they suck, or if it's a tournament, maybe there's a judge who will come and say they're disqualified or whatever, right?
Yep.
But when there's a system in the real world that has rules, you might think it's like a game and someone's cheating, and that's true to an extent. The difference is that you can't quit, and that's a huge difference, right?
And before any of you were like, oh, you could just leave the country, like, one, most people can't, and two,
no, you can't
flee fascism. This is happening everywhere.
No. Right. So if people are cheating at politics and governance and the rules of your society, right, corruption or any kind of cheating that happens at a societal level, it's like you cannot escape that. It's not a game. It is a system with rules that involves people, but it's not a game. And so either A, there's an actual powerful organization of some kind that can enforce the rules and make it so that they are followed, which we still have a little bit of, I guess, some places.
A little bit.
Like I can't rob the grocery store or murder a rim or whatever. But if that does not happen and people are getting away with cheating in society, you really only have two options, which is A, just suffer and deal with it and become cheated, right? Or B, cheat harder.
Yep. I mean, you're playing Magic, but it's not a game. It's for real. And the other guy just throws down an obviously handmade Black Lotus. Like, that is clearly not real. And you raise your hand.
There's no judge.
No, worse, there is a judge. And you raise your hand. And the judge comes over and says, that's a perfectly legitimate Black Lotus, and walks away.
Yeah.
At that point, my land where elves is also a Black Lotus.
That's right.
Or I have flipped the table.
Black Lotuses in my pocket. I got 10 of them.
Or I have flipped the table over. Perhaps I am now kicking the other person.
Right. You have to fight and win according to whatever you can get away with, not whatever some rules on paper say. You have to win. And if you win, the other difference is that when you're playing a game, right, the rules of a game, like say Mario or Settlers, are set in stone, right? In society, especially political games, right? When you win, there's a prize for winning, which is that you can write the rules of the game, right? It's you're not just playing within a game where there's some like prize and the rules never change. It's like, no, winning means you control the game now. Yeah. So imagine I win that Magic game, and then the first decree is I get everyone else who saw this situation together, and we agree. The first new rule: you can't just use a fucking fake Black Lotus, and if and there's another judge that can overrule the judge if they're cheating. So we can't get rid of the gerrymandering unless we win the game, and while gerrymandering is currently allowed, we must. If we hope to win, right, we have to just gerrymander the fuck, even though we agree that, that's fucking bullshit. It shouldn't be allowed. It's like, if it's currently allowed, we can't fix that problem until we win. And so therefore, we have no choice but to distastefully gerrymander the fuck as hard as we can to win. And if we do win, hopefully, then we can eliminate all gerrymandering because we're in charge and we can make the rules. So that fight is happening, and Texas is about to actually be the first state to do this for real, and it's the Republican. Other states are already gerrymandered. But to do this to the extreme, there are only two states that are doing this for real in the extreme way of let's just get rid of all the Democrats, Texas and Ohio. People aren't talking about Ohio as much, partly because there's a lot going on in Ohio. Let's just ignore Ohio. But Texas, they were going to do it. Like, they were ready to do it. And the Texas Democrats are playing the game. They actually haven't cheated. The Texas Democrats just fucking left the state. They fled to Chicago and New York and Albany primarily. So a bunch of them are currently hiding in our state, where our governor announced, you're welcome here. You're on the right side of history. I support you, and I'm not going to let anyone arrest you. Our governor seems to take turns doing things that are meh and doing things that are, why aren't you like this all the time? Yep. She's getting better bit by bit, but I don't want to go deep into that right now. So basically, the rules are Texas,
the House in Texas, at the state house, can't actually do this, this literal stealing of the American democracy for the entire country, unless they have a quorum. And they don't have a quorum because almost all the Democrats left the state, and they are actually stuck. The Democrats are wielding actual hard power, because now the only way Texas can proceed would be to kidnap like 50 humans who have scattered themselves across the country in hiding in states.
Right. If these people had stayed in Texas, they could have sent like the Texas police after them. But since they fled, now the discussion is evil Trumpies going to try to send the FBI after them.
The FBI has apparently, semi-breaking news, approved the request to have the FBI assist, and we don't know what that means yet.
We'll see how that goes.
So,
but if you see any Texas state representatives,
you didn't see anything. You didn't see shit.
Or if you see FBI agents coming, you didn't
I heard
see,
they went back.
Also,
I heard he went back to Texas.
Yeah,
I saw him get on a plane to Texas.
Actually, succeeding and finding, and there's like a chase going on, you should get in the way.
Yep, you should absolutely just occupy sidewalk space. That's a phrase you're seeing a little bit in some of the resistance movements of just the words, take up some sidewalk space, as is your right. So anyway, this is a rapidly evolving situation that is right now, of all the crazy crap going on, this is the most important one, because this is the one that is closest to the fundamental
That's
issue.
A lot, considering the other crazy crap.
Yeah, but this one forces an issue pretty profoundly, and the Democrats could win this because they might just not return to the state, in which case the state is powerless, and theoretically the state will then have to have elections where the same people might get reelected because they represent the Democrats who are trapped in Texas right now, who also are super opposed to all this and super in favor of what their reps are doing. This standoff and what is happening is almost identical to several similar standoffs that happened in the immediate months before the hot civil war in the United States. This has never happened before at this scale, except in the months leading up to the actual Civil War. So it's a big deal, and you should pay attention to it. And if you write to your reps and tell them you support this biz and tell them to do the same.
Tell all your U.S. government representatives to cheat. Like, you're okay. It's like, yes, we need to cheat to win. That's the only way. And tell them that you're cool with that. Don't be one of those people who's like, gerrymandering is bad, I'm going to vote against you now because you're in favor of doing a bad thing, right? It's like, get your shit together.
I mean, I'm opposed to the Death Star, but should we really use violence to get rid of it?
All right.
Anyway, you got some news.
Another absolutely crazy, huge news, right? There's too much complicated stuff with this news to go over all of it. But basically, the NFL and ESPN have made some crazy, huge deal. And remember, ESPN is Disney, right? So, and it's like, basically, like, they own part of each other now, and it goes really deep, right? And it's like there's going to be a service where you can pay $30 a month to get ESPN, like real ESPN, like without cable, just by itself. And it's like, that's kind of crazy, considering that if you buy cable, your cable provider is only going to pay like I think it's less than $10 to get you ESPN. So you're basically paying a premium to get cable with just ESPN and not all the other channels, right? If you think about it, even though the total price is less than the price of cable.
Yep.
Anyway, there's that. And then it's like, who's got the rights to broadcast what? And but the most interesting, crazy part about it is, ESPN, while they do broadcast sporting events, they also report on sports, right? They're also journalists at ESPN who write about sports. And now the journalists are partially at the same company as the actual league.
And that is, let's just forget it's sports. Imagine it's literally any other industry. That is a conflict of interest, shall we say.
And it gets even crazier when you remember the gambling situation, right? So there's the gambling that goes on with sports, which is get all the money, right? And it was set up in such a way that how does the money from gambling, why are all the networks, why are all the sports leagues pro gambling? Well, it's because when the gambling companies buy ads, that is a way for them to transfer the wealth of gambling to the leagues, to the teams, to the broadcasters, to whoever. And so that's what it's all about. The ads they are about getting you to gamble, but more so they're about transferring the gambling winnings to the leagues and the broadcasters to make them pro gambling. Right.
Yep. This is like a drain circling black hole of a bunch of conflicts of interest. This feels like a ground pound down to the death of sports.
But now the NFL and ESPN are partially the same company, and ESPN actually is a gambling company. They have ESPN Bet as well as advertising for other gambling biz, and they have gambling content. And it's not like, other leagues can still say, like, yeah, we accept money and we sell gambling ads, but we aren't operating a casino. But the NFL and ESPN are.
I just read this essay, and it's a phrase you're seeing around a lot, but the essay, the opening line was something like, is it just me, or is all of society being turned into a casino piece by piece? Recently. It literally is.
It's not just recently. It's like the past decade or two.
Yeah, it's just accelerating.
A casino is just a machine to transfer money from poor people to casino owners. That's all it is.
Yep.
Right? So...
all right.
They've run out of other ways to extract wealth, money from people. So that's why they're setting up casinos.
I mean, you want to get into that talk. That's just that whole idea that fundamentally capitalism, which is just a sort of evolved form of mercantilism, eventually runs out of things to eat in the colonies. And I'm being finger quotey about it.
It's not even so much just the pure capitalism idea, but the necessity of always, whatever you are, is always growing, right?
Well, mercantilism and capitalism both rely on the fact that every market grows forever, and anything that is not growing is dying.
Yep. It's not acceptable to just stand pat and be sustainable.
Yep. And if everything's growing forever...
You could because capitalism it would be flawed still, right? But we wouldn't really be complaining or upset if it was just stable capitalism, right? Like, we have money, we own businesses, we have free commerce, but no one's trying to grow. Everyone just gets to a sustainable level and just chills. No, we wouldn't really be crying so much.
But the idea is that those systems eventually run out of outsiders to eat and extract wealth from. Like, they extract all the wealth from everything around them like a big mushroom ring, and then they start starving, and the only place left is to turn back on themselves and the society that built them, and they eat the people who made them.
Well, I think what happens is, it's like the big fish eat all the small fish, right? And that's the exploitation and the subjugation. And then once society no longer has a middle class and is just poverty and wealthy people, like it has been for most of human history, what you get then is the big fish try to eat each other. And that's called war.
Yep. So, and we just happen to be speedrunning every crisis of early modernity, and we're steamrolling into World War III, so good times. But anyway, things of the day. So I got a little one. You may remember there's Penn and Teller have a bit. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't,
I've seen it.
It's a really good magic act. I've seen it in person twice, just because, they do this act pretty routinely. And it's all around doing a trick where you shoot a nail gun at something, and occasionally you shoot that nail gun at yourself, and you've memorized it to where you don't actually hit yourself with a nail. And this video is not about the trick. Like, you can go look up how the trick is done. It's pretty obvious how the trick is done, actually. But this video takes two different performances of this trick, years apart in different venues, and plays them where appropriate, simultaneously to show the insane degree to which Penn and Teller have scripted their magic. They say, like, Penn says the exact same words in the exact same cadence with the exact same timing, the exact same pauses, years apart, same bit. It's kind of amazing. And we all know that is their magic. Like, the deal behind Penn and Teller as a magic act is...
It's not just their magic.
It's almost all magic.
It's not just all... It's all magic, but it's also all things that are... that even things that aren't considered magic, which are magic, right?
Like a stadium concert is a choreographed event, start to finish.
Not just that. It's anytime a person performs or does something that, like, other people, like, can't do, and they look at it and they say, holy shit, look at what that person can do, right? That person did something. I can't do that. I can't dunk a basketball or
drive an F1 car or even start an F1 car.
And not just sports, but like someone sang really well at the opera, or somebody performed a played a hand. Your Discord's really having trouble today.
There was a network blip just now, at least on my side.
Yeah, your network's having trouble there. But anytime a human does something like that, it is because they have practiced it like crazy. That is every magic trick. Doesn't matter if it's escape magic, card magic, anything. It's just the results of insane amounts of practice. That's all it is, right? It's like I don't even know why Penn and Teller have this Fool Us show, because they could be like, you didn't fool us. We know how you did it. You practiced. Right? You practiced really hard, and that's how you did it. That's
at least their shit there is that you have to at least say the details of what you practiced.
But that would be the right answer for next on the show.
The other answer could be, nope, I actually have magic powers, and now we're going to rekindle the James Randi Prize and collect it.
Yeah, no one has that. But this is by showing it twice, it illustrates the practice very clearly.
So what do you got?
We're well acquainted with old timey arcades, right? Especially the kind that have mostly the mechanical machines. Early GeekNights episode, we talked to that guy in Beacon who had one.
Yeah.
I think this might have been a thing of the day in the past, but like I don't remember. But this video is only a month old, so whatever. There's a place in Yorkshire in the UK. That's like a garden center. Like, you go there to buy plants and also fish and pet food. Yeah. And also there's a restaurant. And also there's an old-timey penny arcade that has an insanely huge collection of UK mechanical arcade machines of various sorts. And you have to use these big old UK pennies that no longer are valid currency, but they have a bunch of them. So you just go to the change machine, you put real money in, and the old pennies come out, and they're basically like tokens, right? And what's amazing about this video is the video takes the time to actually go around to a lot of the machines and really show them to you carefully and well. Two, the machines, almost all of them, like 90% plus, are in like almost effectively perfect working order, which you almost never see. Whenever I've gone to one of these places, it's like at least half their shit is broken. Yeah. Right? All of this shit is working. If you go to this place, they'll just let you can just play if it's open. And they have some stuff there that is like ultra rare cocoa bean. Even I've never seen it, or I've seen a broken one or something. And it's like, damn, I kind of want to go to the UK just to go to the stupid garden center.
In
Yorkshire.
I've been to London 40 or 50 times.
I mean, it's not far away from London.
Oh, no, but here's what I'm getting to.
But in terms of the UK, it's far away.
I've been to London 40 or 50 times. I have never been anywhere outside of London in the United Kingdom at any point in my life.
Isn't it all just like sheep and Stonehenge? And
I assume so. I guess
this is out amongst the sheep.
Even when Emily and I went on a long weekend trip a while ago, we spent 3.5 days just in London bumming around.
But yeah, I want to go to this place.
I'd like to go to this place.
I've seen other similar places, but like this is the best one of these places I've seen or heard of. So
In the meta moment, the GeekNights Book Club, we're going to talk about in a second. I haven't picked my next books yet, so I will do that before a future show.
Will you, or will you forget?
I will not forget because I got some
cool. Every listener, guess how long it will take for Rim to announce his next book selection.
It'll definitely be in the next week and a half, and if I do not achieve that, then it's all here in recorded. There's evidence. You can call me out. What do I say when I play Overwatch? I play a character no one likes sometimes, and I always tell my team the same thing. Look, I'm good at Sombra, but in the event that I eat shit, remember that I said I'm good at Sombra because that's on me.
I'm going to guess not before PAX.
No, I think it'll be before PAX. But speaking of PAX, we will be there with our new talk, Auctions and Bidding, Monday, 1 p.m. in the Firebird Theater. Otherwise, we'll be hanging out at PAX for 4 days. I think it'll be a good time. I got a bunch of our recent panels on YouTube. And weirdly enough, I don't know what it is, but of all the panels I've uploaded in the past month, one that I did at ZenkaiCon got 7,000 views and lots of comments, and people are there's a constant stream of comments on it, and none of the other ones got that, and I literally don't know why, because it was even just a repeat panel that we already did a better version of before. So I'm not even gonna think about the algorithm or what happened there, but almost every talk we've ever done that we recorded is on YouTube, and I will link to in this episode. I've linked to this a couple times already. There is now a Google Sheet that lists every panel, lecture, workshop Scott and I have ever done going back to 2002 with links to video if there is video.
All right. So the book club. So I decided it's summertime, right? Mystery novels exist. They're super popular. If you go to any bookstore, they're going to be right out in the front area, right? There's a whole community of people who are big into them. But my general feeling is that community doesn't appear too much in other spaces, right? It's like this huge, massively popular thing, mystery novels. People are writing these things all the freaking time. They've been writing them for decades, maybe centuries, right? And it's you just don't think about them. But I think most people, when they do encounter a mystery fiction in whatever medium, it's usually fun, really fun, and you have a great time with it. It's I like mysteries, but I don't think of myself as mystery fan. It's I wouldn't identify that way. But most of the times I watch a mystery movie, read a mystery novel, it's enjoy. So having that realization, I was okay, let's pick some mystery novels.
Yeah.
And so the two I chose, the other one, which you didn't read, well, I read it before I even announced the choices, was the 7 deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle or whatever, 7.5 deaths. And that book, it was also fun and fast and easy to read. But I think, just in case anyone read it, for me, it was a rare case where I'm this should have been a video game instead of a book. Usually it's the other way around. I play a video game and it has all these cutscenes and I'm this should have been a movie or a book or a comic or something. There's no gameplay here. The 7 Devil Hardcastle should have been a video game instead. It would have been better that way, I think. And the only criticism I have of it is while it was a fun mystery, it didn't have much to say, right? It was just the mystery, right? Who done it? That's Yeah,
I hate it when they turn almost into a math puzzle or it's just a logic puzzle.
It was kind of like that a bit. Now the Silent Patient at least had something to say.
Yeah,
it didn't have nothing to say.
And it was more adjacent to a thriller, but a low-key thriller, because I do like thrillers.
Yeah, it never really got super intense with the danger.
Maybe if we're doing genres, maybe a thriller is the genre. I'll pick 2 books that I haven't read from. Pelican Brief style thrillers. You ever read the Pelican Brief?
I heard of it.
Do you ever see the movie, which is actually really good?
I knew there was a movie. Maybe I've seen it. Maybe I don't remember.
I love that shit.
Okay. But yeah, in The Silent Patient, so this book is by Alex Michaelides. I think that's the correct way to say it. You just say Michael and then you say Edes because he's Greek. And this dude, I researched the author a little bit. He's Greek obviously. And he studied. So he's well studied in both psychotherapy and English literature, right? And also, Greek mythology, I guess, as well, right? Because whatever. And so he writes this mystery novel where all of those things are right at the forefront, right? He's like, in the first few chapters, he's coming at you with the Greek names all over the place.
And you get this framing of the events that we are investigating were a tragedy, not unlike a Greek tragedy, which, by the way, the person who was involved in those events cited a real Greek tragedy as part of the events.
And various characters have Greek names, and there's a Greek guy, and it's not subtle. It's not subtle with the metaphor. It's a metaphor that is just like screaming it so you can't miss it, rather than being subtle about it.
I kind of want to see what Alcestis, which I was unaware of, Euripides
play. Unaware of Alcestis.
I learned something about Alcestis that I think is important. So it's Euripides, but Euripides, there was one of 4 short plays that Euripides had presented at basically a festival contest, and he won 2nd place in the festival for this story.
Who won first place?
I don't know. Okay. I actually do want to know, but I learned a bunch about it, and I'm going to read it because it's not long.
Yeah, but that's a good example of how it's not subtle, right? Is like they talk about Alcestis, right? And then it comes out and it's like, oh, by the way, this is the story of Alcestis. And it's like, if you were being subtle with it, normally you would just like have a character named Alcestis, and it would be on the reader to make the connection there of what the story of Alcestis was and how the characters in the story.
You'd have someone like make an oblique reference to like, oh yeah, a lesser known Euripides play, but then they don't name it. Like it would be that kind of thing.
Right. But here they're like, oh yeah, it's called Alcestis, and this is what Alcestis is, and this is the metaphor I'm making. And it's like, it's not bad, but it's a little bit like a little tacky to do it that way.
Yeah, well, I guess that's and I want to be clear. This is not a bad book. Like, I enjoyed reading it, partly because it was a fast read and it was short. But
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed my time with it. But you said it was not subtle, and also it was I don't know, it was very straightforward in that way that a lot of like middling books are, where like there's no passage where I was like, ooh, like, well, that was well written, or like, ooh, I was really into that. I kind of just steamrolled through it like a regular old novel I might have bought at a grocery store, which I guess that's how most mystery novels are. So not everyone's like Agatha Christie.
Right. It's like eating candy, basically, right? It's like, ooh, delicious. Nom, 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 right? But then it's like, are you going to rate that 3 Michelin stars? No. But are you going to just eat it all up? Yes.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's a little bit more, I'm not saying it's like, the fanciest chocolate, but it's like a slightly fancy chocolate that has like some nutty notes to it.
Well, right? I will also say,
it's not just a fucking Snickers bar.
If I was not as well read as I am, I think this book would have been a lot more impressive. Like if I'd read this mystery novel when I was in like middle school, I feel like I would have thought more like, oh, what a deep twist. Woo, I didn't like, ooh.
Spoilers, what a spoiler is knowledge, and therefore a story is no longer enjoyable. And it's like, if that's the case, that story was very fragile to begin with. That simply knowing something ruins it. That the story didn't have anything to offer other than surprise. And so you take the surprise away and there's nothing left, right? And so that's not a very good story. It's probably not worth reading. This story, I wouldn't say is bad in that sense. Like if I knew all the answers before reading it, it probably still would have been enjoyable to some extent.
And I'm very happy. I figured out almost everything very early. There was only one detail I missed out on.
I had... basically I was juggling like 2 or 3 possibilities, right? And I couldn't really favor one over the other until 2/3, I'd say.
It was about you know what? I was 100% sure on my guesses after the second concussion that would have definitely killed the main character.
Yeah.
But I guess spoiler warning, however, because if you like mystery novels, like this is a mystery novel and we're going to like super spoil it because there is a mystery. So if you like reading a mystery novel, to see if you figure out the mystery, then don't listen any further until you've read this book. And I think you should read it if you listen to Geek Nights. It's short. I think you'll probably enjoy it. But spoilers ahead. The one thing that struck me the most is from 2 chapters in, I didn't like the main character. He felt like he was not just like, he felt like an unlikable person. And I increasingly did not trust him as a narrator or a character, like very early.
Yep, especially, right? So there were a few reasons. I think the biggest thing is that there are other characters in the story who are good or have their good or bad side.
And he immediately beefs with all of them for like no reason.
And they're all actually, the other characters, whether they're good or bad, likable or not, are fun and interesting, have some depth to them. Right? They're not just caricatures or whatever. And it's like, you know, some of them are, you understand having a beef with, right? Like what's the brother,
Max Berenson.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Fuck
right?
that guy. I imagine that guy is like a mini Baron Harkonnen, just being an absolute piece of shit.
But still a fun. But while he's a piece of shit, he's a fun character.
Oh yeah,
right. Like an interesting character. Like you don't mind reading about him, even though he's a disgusting person, right? But it's like he's beefing with like the other psychologist, like the other doctor at the place, and it's like, but that guy's doesn't seem bad at all, really. He seems chill. But he's like, oh, I remember I hate that guy for some reason. We used to work together for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but that was it. And what he reminded me of so specifically, which
also mad at he also doesn't like the gallery guy, the guy who runs the gallery.
Yeah, and the gallery guy was just like a sad sack artist guy who didn't.
Yeah, it just seems like, oh, this is just a gallery running guy. That's how those people are, and it's like well presented,
But considering the answer to the mystery and like how it all went down, it is good writing that we didn't like him and the reasons we didn't like him because he was the problem.
Yeah, for sure.
But
especially he's treating his own wife like crap too.
Yep. Oh my God. But also, I have known people like that. Like it's a certain cluster of personality issues that may or may not involve mental health issues where there's a certain kind of light paranoia.
Someone who knows about psychotherapy might write about those.
Exactly. And I think that was very well written, and that he was very well written as someone with that cluster of tendencies that are on the dark triangle, like edging into sociopathy, potentially psychopathy.
Yep.
Like,
I think the author was writing what he knows.
Yeah.
Right?
But it was
that works.
And it worked well because it was distracting to the point that I assumed he was the killer really early because of how unlikable he was in the nature of how he was unlikable, coupled with his beef with the people who worked at the Grove, coupled with why is he so obsessed with this relatively minor murder in the first place? Like that feels weird. And
that he left a good job and he just really wanted to go work on this one famous-ish patient.
Yep. The only thing I got wrong, I should have connected the Alcestis story to he didn't actually kill Gabriel. I thought he killed Gabriel and in the final moment. And at the end, when you learn the whole story, the psychological trigger of why she was still the murderer was the one part I didn't get.
Yeah, and I didn't see that either.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, it was literally Alcestis. The fucking author told me in the beginning what the story was, and I was just stupid.
Just didn't believe him.
Yep. But I halfway believed it. I just didn't take it all the way to its logical conclusion.
Yep. So yeah, the concept of the story is actually pretty interesting, right? And compelling is that you have this person who all the physical evidence is that they did this murder. And as you said, they did. That's why the physical evidence was that they did. But they, after committing the murder, said no words. They just stopped talking completely, right? And were weird and violent and strange and not talking. And it's like, oh, well, what's up with that, right? And it's like, even though all the physical evidence says that they did it, it's like you just really want to know why or what happened, because it doesn't seem to make sense. How things got from point A to point B. How did this person reach a state where they would do that sort of thing?
Yeah.
That's what the mystery. It's not who done it. It's how did they get to the place where they did it? 'Cause it would be like, if you read in the news tomorrow, Rim kills Scott, it would be like
what the fuck happened there?
And there was DNA evidence, and there's a photo of Rim with a knife, and it's got my blood on it, right? And it's like, well, there's no question that that's what happened. Really, there's a video of Rim stabbing me 10 times. Right? It's unquestionably him. He has no alibis. It's like cold, locked in stone.
Like it happened in a courtroom in front of the judge.
Right. It's like there wouldn't be a mystery of who killed Scott, but there would be a mystery of how did Rim come from where he was doing this podcast to stabbing Scott the next day?
Yep.
That's the mystery. And so that's what the silent patient is.
And that leads to an
how did
interesting
these people who are madly in love with each other get to a place where they're murdering each other, in short order.
And what's really interesting is that led to a good juxtaposition where ostensibly the main character is a psychotherapist trying to open this person up to help them, and by way of that maybe find out more about how the person got there. But the actions Theo, the main guy, takes and the way we as the reader engage, I was more interested in literally what was the relationships and what happened. I'm reading it like the mystery of the murder because he is approaching it like a private investigator, talking to lawyers and looking for evidence and
he keeps going way out of bounds for what someone in his job is supposed to be doing, doing all this detective shit and talking to relatives and approaching people and calling people he shouldn't and revealing information he shouldn't and doing all this stuff that's way out of bounds.
And for a little while, I started distrusting if he was even doing all those things or if he was just crazy. For a little while, I wondered, especially after the head injuries, I was like, is this a film noir style thing where he is actually spiraling into paranoid delusions?
Yep. That's the thing is we've seen it. You've seen so many techniques in other stories, like unreliable narrators and, chronological dissonance and all sorts of things.
It was the second head injury coupled with the repeated description of him drinking to recover from the head injury.
Yep. And you're always wondering, are any of those techniques I've seen in other books, the book could suddenly be like it was a dream, it was hallucination. At any time, it could do any of those things. So you always have to sort of take them into account.
Yeah, well, especially the second head injury was so egregious, like baseball bat to the back of the head, instant unconsciousness. But coupled with the encounter he has when he wakes up from that is edging into, no, that's a Baron Harkonnen figure up there. It almost felt like it was too crazy to be true what's going on in that house.
He gets hit over the head and then he's taken into a house and he wakes up and there's a strange kind of character woman.
Yeah.
Upset. It's like, what? It's like, that really felt like a cartoonish, surreal kind of scene, right? It's like,
but then later he sees the painting of her, and then Felix is like, or Jean Felix is like, oh yeah, that's the painting that she was really mad about, and he's like, yeah, I see why she was mad.
Yeah. So it's like, would I recommend this book? I think if you just want to take a book to the beach and finish it in one or it's not a one beach, it's like a 2 to 3 beach book, right? Unless you read even faster than me somehow, which is possible, I guess. It's fun. Just don't go expecting a literary masterpiece. But this book was insanely popular, mega bestseller. People buy, which shows just how big that community of mystery reading people is out there. Yeah,
and like we said, parts of it were crafted very well, and even as toward the end, I'm very smug, okay, clearly he is involved directly, and I figured out Theo's stalking her because he was probably stalking her before. I figured out the time difference between the stories of him hanging out with his wife, but then I missed the full allegory piece at the end. Means it was well crafted. And it does cause some dissonance in the reader that a less well-written book would not have done.
And I think you can't approach a mystery novel it is fun to try to figure things out. That's part of what makes them enjoyable. But I think you can't approach it as sort of a competition of you versus the author, right? Because it's like I won the mystery novel because I figured it out this many pages early, or oh, you got me. It's like it can be enjoyable when when you didn't get it, and it can be enjoyable when you figure it out on page 1. That's not
Definitely
what it's about.
I mean, look at Columbo. Columbo, weren't mystery stories; they were detective stories. You know who did it? Everybody knows who did it. The only question is, how is Columbo going to catch him? And I got a lot of Columbo vibes from the constable who shows up at the very end to arrest him. It's just like, well, I gotcha. And he's like, yep, you got me. And the book just ends.
Yep. So I did read and finish The Maidens, which is the second book by the same author.
Ooh.
I think he has a third book, but I haven't read that. And it's not like a series. It's not like volume 1, volume 2, right? It's just another mystery novel. But surprise, surprise, the mystery novel involves Greek allegory from Euripides. It involves a psychotherapy, and it does take place canonically in the same universe as The Silent Patient. Spoilers, I guess. There's a chapter where the main character of The Maidens, which is the second book, meets the character from the first book, Theo, and also the Ruth character, the sort of like smart old lady psychotherapist, is the connection between the two.
Ah.
Right?
Ruth is doing God's work dealing with Theo.
Oh yeah, that's another great character, right? Ruth, that you could really really felt like the Oracle from the Matrix, right? That kind of character, right? And The Maidens, it's a different kind of murder mystery where there's like murders that keep happening to this particular group of people at a college, and like they keep happening, and it's like we got to find out who did it so that they stop happening. And the main character, is sort of detectiving like on her own, even though the cops told her to stop and whatnot. It's like she's just being a busybody, whatever. And so I guess if you liked one, the second one is basically more of the same. Mm-hmm. Just different characters, different place, and I don't know what the third one's doing, but I think it gets a little long in the tooth to be like, okay, dude, we get it. You're a specialist in English literature, Greek literature, psychotherapy, and you're writing mystery novels and incorporating what you know. I got it. Harry
Turtledove was like that with his historical like fantasy. Sure. Nonsense, like right. That's what he writes. He just keeps writing it.
If that is somehow like up your alley and it just works on you every time, great news. This guy's gonna write more books because he's selling, right? The people are buying these books. He's gonna make more of them. He's got a deal, right? Good news for you. If you're like me and you need some novelty, you got to mix things up. You can get bored when it's the same thing over and over again. It's like I basically read almost the same book twice. I don't feel like I'm good, Alex.
Well, that's the one thing I can't do.
You did good, but unless you do a twist and go down a different road, I can find something else.
Very rare that I want to read two books in the same genre broadly that aren't like part of the direct series back to back. Usually I want to genre hop around, or I'm reading like The Wheel of Time start to finish.
Yeah, I would recommend, like, if you like this, but you don't like super like it, you just kind of like it, that you should go away and then come back to The Maidens some point later, right? As like, you ate the one nice, not ultra fancy, but not garbage chocolate bar. And then you have another one. You don't just eat it immediately, right? You wait for another occasion where you're in the mood for that again.
All right. And so in terms of my book, I think I'm going to follow this train for a while because you picked a genre that we had to address. And
well, I wasn't particularly trying to pick a genre, but I was.
But you ended up there.
Hey, mystery novels, mystery specifically, that genre is like a thing and had characteristics that I was.
So
like,
I think I'm going to do the same thing. So I feel like I'm either going to pick two contemporary horror novels, because I used to read I've read a lot of horror over the years, and I don't know what the current state of horror is.
Books, novels that I've read that were horror specifically were like scary stories.
Oh, I've read
Or-
like a lot of Stephen King and Dean Koontz and all those kinds of guys.
Yeah, I haven't actually. It's like for those. It's like usually I go for the horror movies. I haven't read. Have I read any Stephen King book ever? Maybe not.
Well,
I've seen plenty of. I know so many Stephen King stories.
Well, there's the fantasy book he wrote under a different name
Tommy
that I
Knockers
wouldn't
and Pet
recommend
Cemeteries
reading.
and,
Through the Eyes of the Dragon. I've read all those. I haven't read all his later stuff, like Regulators Onward. I haven't read. I feel like it's kind of like Final Fantasy. I played a lot of Final Fantasy. No, I've played less than half of all the mainline Final Fantasies because they keep making them.
That's right.
But I feel like I'm either going to pick horror and pick 2 contemporary horror books, or I'm going to pick thriller and pick 2 contemporary thriller books, like the Pelican Brief adjacent.
There's a lot of overlap though, right, between mystery, thriller, horror, right?
Exactly. It's the cluster of the kind of book where you're like, ooh.
Yeah, there's a lot of books that are sort of in all 3 at once, or just 2 at once, or right. It's kind of actually rare to be just solidly in one of the 3 camps, right?
Yeah, a lot of Stephen King horror books were also mysteries, like what's the deal with the fog? Even though the answer is you're not going to find out. Spoilers.
Right. And I guess the one more thing about mystery is that there's so many fictional works that you wouldn't put the label of mystery on them, but they have a terrible secret to space, and you could argue that, like, Evangelion, almost every anime is a mystery, right?
Yeah,
because they all have a fucking terrible secret to space, where it's like, who's really behind the giant robot?
Well,
whatever,
the Prince of Nothing eventually comes down to what the fuck are the Inquiry?
Yeah, right. It's like,
and the answer seems to be they're just a shitty AI. But
something like that.
Yeah. Spoilers, I guess. I don't think he's writing any more of those books.
No.